One thing I wanted to ask you about, Jay, that you touched on there quickly is nice guy syndrome. It's something that you and I both see in men's group a lot. It's one of our best attended groups is the No More Mr. Nice Guy boundary setting, group. And I'm sure you must work with men that deal with that. What have you learned about how to be more of a good guy and less of a nice guy?
Wow, yeah, this is again, it comes in many different varieties depending on whatever's
Yeah.
happened in your past. And we see so many symptoms of it. We see guys who really have challenges in relationships where they're desperately trying to actually get the approval of their partner, and they're just doing and doing and doing, and they are expecting their partner to give back. But then when they don't, they resent them, and secretly they're angry at their partner for not doing the thing that they haven't communicated because they have a problem with confrontation.
Yes.
That's a big one that we see in the nice guy. In terms of how do we deal with it, I think that everything starts with awareness. Getting awareness of your behaviors. So one of the things we hear all the time in men's group is when guys read the book No More Mr. Nice Guy, that would probably be the first step. They actually realize, how does this guy know me so well? He's in my head. How did he know? And it sounds just like
Yes.
you, right? If this is going out to the guys in men's group, they're already in men's group. But if it goes out beyond men's group, then of course that would probably be a book I recommend. And then what he recommends in the book is that you join a men's group like men's group, which is what so many of our members actually do. Coming back to the awareness thing, most guys, it can be overwhelming, I think, to try and deal with the level of problems they actually experience, because it's never just one thing. It's never just, hey, I've just got this one single thing in my relationship, because they might find that they have what's called covert contracts, or they are approval seeking, or they might have a fear of conflict. They might have quite destructive relationships. It shows up in many different ways. And what I'd say to many guys is, let's just tackle one thing at a time. So, for example, if I have a challenge with conflict, then I've got two options. I can either explore where that conflict comes from, that fear of conflict, and get to understand the root cause of that. Because when we get clarity on what the root cause of it is, what you might actually find, and I call it a charge, some of that charge is released. Because if we're just going through life and I'm like, I just don't know why I feel like this, I don't know how I feel like this, we're often confused, and that manifests in more of that same feeling. But when we get clarity on what specifically could be the root cause of it, then often what we do is we release some of that negative charge. Let's say it's guilt or shame or fear. We release some of that. Now, you can either get coaching, support to actually overcome that, whatever that past event is, or you can go the other way, which is going to take courage, which is when you start to lean into it a little bit. And just one step at a time, you start maybe starting to say no to people. Maybe if it's just your kids, you start there because they're going to love you no matter what. So maybe just starting to say no to your kids. And maybe then starting, as you progress, it's going to give you more confidence. Maybe start to say no to your partner on certain things that aren't big matters that carry a lot of emotion. And I found that what happens is just by easing into it, taking one thing at a time and starting to build that confidence, it's going to help you realize that conflict can actually be a really healthy thing. Conflict can be really healthy in a relationship, because when two people experience conflict, as I always say to people, when there's breakdown, there's normally a breakthrough. And in a relationship, as an example, when two people have a confrontation and they have the courage and the awareness to both want to talk about it, they normally talk through the problem and they find a path and a way forward. And ultimately that elevates the relationship, and the relationship improves from there. And I can talk from personal experience. That has been the case. I used to avoid conflict. I really did. I used to hate it. It would make me uncomfortable and icky, and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to be rejected. And it was horrible.
Yes.
But I knew that I had to have the courage to speak up. Because if I didn't, my relationship was going to end. It was going to end up in probably more conflict. And then
Totally.
it would end up in a relationship that neither of us would actually be fulfilled in. Whereas now, from leaning into what I just shared, and I'm using conflict specifically, like I said, there's other areas of this. That's ultimately what's allowed me and my wife to become much better at communicating with each other, much better at creating space to talk about what we actually want in the relationship. And it feels like a much safer space because we've gone there. And so that's what I'd probably say to guys with regard to nice guy, to kind of leaning into it.